Anatoliy Tubular Gamers, back with another video. We're hiding in the trees. We're in the trees.
Well, it's now December. The month of November has come and gone. It's the end of 2025. It feels like January 2025 was just a few weeks ago, but January actually is coming up in a few weeks, which is a pretty scary thought that in just a few weeks, 2016 will be 10 years old. And if you're somebody who said, hey, 2025 is going to be my year, it's going to be my big year, and it still hasn't panned out for you, it might be time to accept the fact that 2025 may not be your year. But that's okay. There's always next year. Next year, we're all going to kill it. I'm certain of this. But for today, we're going to be talking about November. In the month of November, I didn't play as many games as I did in October. October was just absolutely bonkers, but I did play a fair amount of games in November, and so you know how this goes. I'm going to be sharing my thoughts, feelings, memories, etc. Just really my personal opinion on all the games that I had the privilege of playing in November 2025. There's only one more of these I can do for 2025, which is certainly a scary thought, but I'm going to continue this in 2026 as well. As per usual, these aren't reviews, this isn't a ranking, the order is actually the order that I played these games in. I thought that would be a nice change of pace. As always, any support is truly greatly appreciated. I really do appreciate it all. The Patreon, the super thanks, the comments, the likes, the subs, joining the drama-free Discord. I really do appreciate it all, seriously. Thank you all so very much, and if you're still with me on this journey, I love you, and I hope I can provide the best content for the rest of 2025 and all of 2026. So with that in mind, let's get to the games. So the first game that I played in November, and probably the game I played the most of in November, is Tokyo Extreme Racer. Now this came out in early access in January, and I tried it back then and thought it was pretty good, but it hit 1.0 in late September, but just due to the avalanche of releases, I hadn't gotten around to it, and sadly enough, my save was actually just straight up corrupted from the early access version. Not really sure what happened there. So yeah, I just bit the bullet, took the L, and said, I'm gonna start a new game. I started a new game at the very beginning of the month and ended up playing a shit ton of this game. It was one of my days off, and I said, man, I don't feel like doing anything. I just want to play Tokyo Extreme Racer. And I sat there and I played the game for 13 hours. I even streamed like 6 or 7 hours of it. And it was honestly so much fun. It had been forever since I had sat down and had such a long gaming session. These days I won't play a game for more than like 2, maybe 3 hours at most, just due to work, producing videos, or jumping to another game. But not with this. I really sat the fuck down and just played this like crazy, and genuinely, it was just so enjoyable. It's some of the most fun I've had with any game all year. It is way better than it was in early access. The controls are better, the collision is better, the physics are better, there's a lot more rivals, the game looks a little better. It just feels a lot better than that early access period. It wasn't even in early access for all that long, but it doesn't matter. It's so good now. I think I've made it pretty clear on my channel that I love racing games, and this is maybe my favorite racing game of the entire year. Like, this game just goes so hard. I'll be the first to admit that it is rather niche. It's made for a very specific kind of audience, but I'm that audience. I'm the niche, and this absolutely feels like it was made for someone like me. It's very repetitive in nature. You really are just driving around this rather small map, flashing your headlights at other racers, and then just racing them. But it isn't from like start to finish. Usually it just involves you trying to get far enough away from them to drain their health bar, also known as their will. And of course, smashing into them and them smashing into stuff will also drain that. It's pretty shrimplistic, but it really just never got old for me. It took me around 15-16 hours to beat this game, and I never got sick of it. I just found it to be so rewarding, engaging, and ultimately entertaining. Constantly doing races really never got old for me. When you start the game, your car is shit. It is slow as a brick, like it is dog crap. And this isn't one of those games where they're constantly rewarding you with vehicles. No, it's going to be a while before you get another car, and the game almost drip feeds you upgrades, but it's totally worth it in my opinion. It makes the progression so rewarding. You go from this tiny junker to like the fastest thing on the highway. This game is a great sense of speed, and by the end of it, I just couldn't believe how fast I was truly going. I look at this old footage of when I started the game and I'm like, man, this game really just gets significantly faster, and I absolutely loved it. I love the shrimplistic art style and visuals. Like, yeah, it's not a looker by any means, but it does have a nice aesthetic and it ran super well. The music absolutely slaps in this game. It controls super well. It feels nice. The customization is pretty incredible. You can customize damn near everything with these cars. The skill upgrades, while a little confusing at first, the UI in general is a little confusing at first. absolutely made sense. And yeah, I could honestly just be here all day talking about how much I love Tokyo Extreme Racer. This is easily one of my favorite games of the year, and I'm still just kind of in awe how much better this game is outside of early access. It's 100% not made for everybody. I'm certain there are plenty of people that tried this and went, wow, this is really repetitive. You just drive along the highway and race people in these really short races. Yeah, that's kind of the point here. It really is as straightforward as it gets, and I really enjoyed it. So another game that I enjoyed was SpongeBob SquarePants Titans of the Tide. Now, I gave this game its own review, and I ranked every 3D platformer SpongeBob game, so I've given this game more than enough time, so I'll keep this one rather short. I think it's pretty good. It's another good 3D platformer in the SpongeBob series, and while I don't think that this is the very best that this franchise has seen, I still think this is one of the better SpongeBob games overall. And I quite did enjoy my time with it. One thing I want to bring up that I mentioned in the review and the ranking is that this game kind of ran like crap on my computer. I've since heard that the console versions have a performance and quality mode and that the game actually runs pretty decent in performance. So that's just something I wanted to mention, but come on now, even the SpongeBob game is having trouble running in Unreal Engine 5. Typical. But anyway, Titans of the Tide, that's a good one. So another good one that I played through was Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Now, I ranked every Zelda spin-off, and the Hyrule Warriors games are very much Zelda spin-offs, so I've already spoken on this game in some depth. So for this, I'll just kind of give you a TLDR. I enjoy the game. I think it's one of the better Zelda spin-offs and really just one of the better Warriors games overall. It doesn't hit the highs of the original Hyrule Warriors in my opinion, but it's a lot better than Age of Calamity. The game runs super smooth, really rock steady, rock solid, 60 FPS through and through. I enjoy the story. It's actually canon to the main Zelda timeline, which is nice since the last one was not. I didn't enjoy that what if scenario. And I feel like this actually expands even a bit more on the Tears of the Kingdom storyline, which is pretty cool. I think the combat is solid. I like that all of the characters are super different from each other, and while there isn't a ton here to choose from, genuinely there are no two characters that play alike. I enjoy the introduction of the Zonai devices. I think those are pretty cool, and while the game isn't overflowing with content, there's still a good amount here. And I can say that if you're somebody who enjoys Zelda or the Warriors games, you're gonna like this one. And hey, it's one of the rare Switch 2 exclusives. Ooh. But now from the good to the bad, here we got Black Ops 7. Yeah, I didn't play Battlefield 6, I didn't play Arc Raiders, but I had to play the newest Call of Duty. Like, I'm just dedicated to the series at this point. I played all of them, even the shitty spin-offs. And Black Ops 7, whew. This is one of the worst Call of Duties of them all. While I don't think it's the absolute bottom of the barrel trash can fire that a lot of people are calling this, it is not a good game by any means. I actually streamed the entire campaign in co-op and ooh boy, that one was rancid. This is one of the worst campaigns Call of Duty has ever seen. Like, it is just terrible. Flat out atrocious in just about every aspect. I think the worst aspect has to be the story though. It's the most nonsensical Call of Duty's ever been. It is so all over the place, hard to follow, and just ridiculous that it kind of just does the full 360 and ends up becoming so bad that it's kind of good. But it also low-key shits all over Black Ops 2 and even Black Ops 1 stories in a few ways, which I certainly didn't love. But hey, I'm not gonna let a game that came out like 15 years later ruin my love and memories for older COD stories. I can just pretend this game doesn't exist and it really doesn't change a damn thing. But the story was not only confusing but just downright dreadful in certain areas, and when it comes to actually playing through the campaign, it is just so all over the place. Almost every mission feels like you're playing a different game. Call of Duty's always tried a bunch of different things, but it wasn't this balls to the walls before. They didn't stray this far from what Call of Duty's core identity is, not just in its themes and vibes, but its tone, its setting, and actual gameplay. Every level is like vastly different from each other to the point where it's almost unrecognizable as Call of Duty. There's no cohesion here. It doesn't come together in a satisfying way. It just doesn't come together at all in any way. And the pacing is awful. There's never a moment to breathe. It's just go, 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 crazy set piece to crazy set piece. And these set pieces, like, what the fuck is even happening? You're fighting a big skibbity toilet kaiju, and that's not even the worst of the boss fights. All of them, though, are pretty terrible. I'm not against enemies having health bars. It's okay if they take a few more bullets to kill, but these bosses were just the spongiest, dull fights imaginable. The only thing that really made it better was that the entire thing can be played cooperatively, which is how I played it. It was a lot more enjoyable. Playing this alone, I don't think most people are going to like it. After you beat the story mode, you actually unlock an extraction shooter mode, which is just awful. It's lazy, generic, uninspired, and lame. I don't really have anything else to say about it. When it comes to the multiplayer, man, it's pretty much the same as Black Ops 6, only it's worse and it features a bunch of AI slop. I don't like saying the word slop, but this legit is AI slop. It's just AI garbage and shouldn't be in a big AAA game that probably had over 10,000 people working on it. Use the artists you're already paying. What is this crap? And then zombies, it wasn't the worst zombies I've ever seen, but it was just so damn easy and it was boring. It was like Transit, but way worse, where you drive around the circle in the car and you just kill zombies and do basic objectives, and that's all there is right now. Zombies wasn't really anything special either. Black Ops 7, this wasn't good, like at all. In a year where Call of Duty is actually a lot of competition with Battlefield 6 and Arc Raiders, they really should have pulled their A game out here, and this is one of the worst CODs of them all and is not worth your time. Well, that's okay. That was easily the worst game I played all month. A good game that I played last month was Marvel Cosmic Invasion. Now, this just came out here in December, but I was sent an early code by .mu, and I'm very, very appreciative of it. I actually gave this game its own dedicated review because I had a few things to say about it, so long story short, I think it's pretty good. Is it the best beat 'em up ever? No, but it's certainly in contention. Like, it actually is that solid. It feels amazing, it looks really nice, and I found it to be incredibly enjoyable. I would say that it's right up there with Streets of Rage 4 and Shredder's Revenge when it comes to beat 'em ups over the last 10 years. It's one of the very best. It's easily the best Marvel beat 'em up, and I think that anybody who enjoys Marvel in really any capacity can enjoy what this game is doing. I won't dwell on this too long since I already talked about it for like 10 plus minutes, but gets a solid thumbs up. So the game that I played the most of, or second most of, I gotta check, was Kirby Air Riders. Now, I love the original Kirby Air Rider on GameCube. I thought it was a great game, but I'll be the first to admit that it certainly had flaws. Kirby Air Riders, though, on the Switch 2, oh, this thing goes foolish. This game is great. This is one of my favorite games of the entire year. Yes, it's another racing game, but Kirby Air Riders is so much more. I'm hoping to have a video soonish where I can share my thoughts on this one, but never in a million years did I think a Kirby Air Riders sequel would go as crazy as this. It pretty much makes the original obsolete. Okay, maybe that's a little hyperbolic, but this game features nearly everything that the original game had and so much more, and it's so much better also. The core racing is way better than the original game. The racing was just okay in the original. Here, it's actually pretty good. Almost all of the vehicles feel really nice, they control incredibly well, the game has a great sense of speed to it. When you go fast, oh, it feels like you're going really fast. And it feels like they fleshed out a lot of the original game's mechanics. For instance, sucking up enemies and using their abilities was in the original, but it was pretty basic. Here, it's a lot more advanced, there's more abilities, and it's just a lot more fun to use these, and everybody can suck up enemies and use their abilities. Speaking of, there's more than just Kirby here. The original game, it really was just Kirby. Here, there's a bunch of characters, there's a bunch of deep cuts in here like Rick and Gooey, and I am absolutely all here for it. I love the game's roster. I also love the vehicle selection. The machines are way better than they were in the original. In the original, the balance was just terrible. Here, it feels like almost every machine is actually really good for something. It's good at something. There's some reason why you would actually want to use it. Some are still clearly better than others, but I would say that most machines are actually viable here. Most of them. And the new, tighter, overall better physics make the racing even better. All of the new courses are pretty great as well. These are actually decently designed, and pretty much every course from the original comes back as well. In some ways, this almost feels like a remake, and you know, it's so cool to be going through these courses that I went through like 20 years ago, but now with all these new characters, I'm going way faster, shinier graphics. It's so good. Maybe it's just nostalgia bait, but I'm hungry, I'm feasting today. But like the original, there's more than just air ride, there's top ride, and you know, it's actually pretty good in this game, surprisingly so. I didn't like top ride in the original. This, yeah, they actually did a lot to improve it. Better courses, more abilities, the machines actually behave like the machines would in a normal race, it controls better, yeah. Top Ride is actually legit here. Then there's City Trial, probably the best mode of the original game and probably the best mode of this new game as well, where it's actually kind of like a roguelike, where you get 5 minutes to explore this city and collect power-ups and a bunch of other random events happen during this. I've had so much fun with this. It was Thanksgiving over here in the US, and I went back to Northern California to see family and friends, and you know what we played the most of? We played Kirby Air Ride City Trial, and in multiplayer, this is a whole lot of fun. There's so many random events, and all these new characters and machines are so much fun to use here. And like the original, there's a bunch of mini games that can happen after, and these mini games are good too. There's even a single player mode. And this is called Road Trip, and I quite enjoyed this as well. I found this to be pretty entertaining. It's only like 3 or 4 hours long, but it very much is replayable, and it's kind of what I wanted from Mario Kart World, if we're being honest. This game, in a few areas, was what I wanted from Mario Kart World. Why is the city trial map low-key better designed and more fun to navigate than Mario Kart World's open world? You tell me that. Sure, this game doesn't have knockout mode, but it's got plenty of other good things to it. It's super polished, the UI is basically just Smash Brothers, the checklist is just as much fun as it's always been to complete, unlocking stuff is great, the progression is solid. Yeah, this is just a really good game. I can see some people not liking it since it is still a one-button racer that at times can feel a bit too shrimplistic and the game low-key can play itself. But this is really what I wanted from this game. It was exactly what I needed, and I really just have a high amount of praise for it. If you're going to get a Switch 2, or you're contemplating getting one, this is one that I think you should absolutely check out for it. More than Hyrule Warriors or Pokemon, maybe even more than Mario Kart. Like, it was just a really good one. So another game that I was fortunate enough to play in the month of November was Total Chaos. I streamed this one for like 5, maybe 6 hours. I got more than halfway through it, and I gotta say, this is easily one of the best horror games I've played all year, and it's probably the scariest game I've played all year. This game is actually legit. It is all gas here. It is a first-person, melee-focused survival horror affair that sees you going through this dilapidated island looking for someone. The story, plot, and all of that is pretty cryptic. There's not a lot to go off of here. It's just kind of a mystery, and I actually haven't finished the game yet. I'm still figuring everything out, but I'll be 100. It's not really grabbing me, and I'm starting to feel rather indifferent, but I don't feel indifferent about this gameplay. It is actually good. It is rather linear, and occasionally you'll be solving some pretty basic puzzles, but for the most part, you're just moving forward, exploring around, and getting into fights with enemies. And the combat is actually pretty solid here. Weapons can break, they all have different properties, attributes, pros, cons, etc. And it's fun to beat the shit out of things. You do get firearms in this game, but you really don't get a lot of ammo. It's pretty limited. It very much is as limited as Condemned. This game is probably best compared to Condemned since that was so focused on melee combat. But low-key, I would say that this game is better than Condemned. The melee combat, while a little janky and rough around the edges, is probably just as good. It has its own satisfying moments, and I found it to be pretty engaging throughout, but you can't defeat everything in this game. There are plenty of enemies that will show up that will literally just end your life like that if you even get near them, which leads to plenty of chase sequences or parts where you're just trying to get away from enemies. I gotta say though, this game really nails it when it comes to the atmosphere and general presentation. Yeah, it's not a looker, it's not the best looking game you've seen, but it just puts off this dark aura. It's able to set this mood that genuinely kinda got to me. It was rather unsettling, and the game spooked me more than once. Genuinely, 100%, no cap, no kizzy, this is the game that scared me the most in terms of new games that I played this year. Nothing else has really even come close. I love Chronos, I like Silent Hill F, but those games didn't scare me like this one did. It just actually hit different. The sound design was really good, the general level design and puzzles that do show up are pretty solid as well. Like, I really got nothing but positive things to say about this one, and it's pretty indie. It's actually made by the person who made Turbo Overkill. That game's great, probably a little better, but I thought this one was pretty good too. I absolutely recommend it for horror enthusiasts. I played this one through Game Pass since I still had a month for Black Ops 7, and yeah, this shit was way better than BO7. But that actually wasn't the only game that I played that stream. In the midst of Kentucky flooding, I also played through Terrifier the arcade game. If you're unfamiliar with this one, it is a beat 'em up set in the Terrifier universe. And if you're unfamiliar with Terrifier, it is that series of movies about Art the Clown violently killing people, and that's all I'm really going to say since I've never actually seen any of the movies. But I went through the haunted house at Universal here in LA, so I've got some general idea of the movies. When it comes to this game, it is a very mediocre to average beat 'em up that is well, significantly worse than Marvel Cosmic Invasion. It feels nowhere near as good. It feels incredibly stiff. It took a hot minute to get used to this game. It's also incredibly slow. And I mean that in like every aspect. Pulling off moves is slow, the few combos you can do are slow, the enemies are slow, movement is slow. Even when you speed up, it's still nowhere near as fast as say Scott Pilgrim, Marvel Cosmic Invasion, Streets of Rage, etc. It's just a slow game, and the pacing is just kind of glacial because of this. Thankfully, you can play through the entire game cooperatively, and even though it doesn't have online play, through remote play, CayaTV was able to join me, and we had a fine enough time on here. This is a pretty mindless mid beat 'em up at best. Like, the game has some serious flaws to it. I'm not going to act like it's absolutely awful or the worst beat 'em up I've ever played. Like, this is probably better than almost every beat 'em up for the NES, but that's not really saying a lot. Even though I did have some mindless fun and the game's only like an hour or so long and it actually features a few extra modes here, I just don't think I can really recommend it. Even to big Terrifier fans, like, there doesn't seem to be a lot of Terrifier specific things here. There is in a few parts, but for a majority of the time this just kind of felt like a generic violent beat 'em up. Also, the blood splatter was starting to get annoying, and having to mash A to get up every single time you get knocked down is pretty annoying. So yeah, it's pretty clear I'm mixed on this one. This is very much a mixed bag situation, and they're charging $20 full price. I was sent a review code, which I am very grateful for, like, thank you very much, but at $20 I cannot recommend this. I think this is a nice like $5 game, which I'm certain it's going to be within a year, and even then it's still a bit of a hard sell. Yeah, the game's only like an hour or two, but it's not the best hour or two. I literally talked about a beat 'em up that's like 4 times better less than 20 minutes ago. Maybe if I hadn't just come off of Cosmic Invasion I would have liked this one more, but yeah, I'm just The next one that I want to briefly mention is Tormented Souls 2. Shout out to the publisher, very much do appreciate the review code, very cool. I played a little of this and have been enjoying it. I'm hoping in the month of December I can get back to it. I actually quite enjoyed the first one, and this seems like more of the same. A solid little horror game that doesn't reinvent the wheel by any means, but it's just a fun throwback to older horror games. But anyway, the last game that I want to talk about today is Pokemon Legends ZA. I got this one back in October and just never got around to it until November, and yeah, I've played a few hours of it and I certainly have some thoughts. First off, I agree with everybody that outside of the frame rate, the presentation is just absolutely abysmal, and the Digimon Storytime Stranger is a much better game. Like, unironically, the new Digimon is way better than this. This is a very just okay game. I haven't been hating it, but I haven't been loving it either. I actually really like Legends Arceus. That's like my favorite Pokemon game ever now, and this just feels like a step back in a few areas, and rather than being the next big step forward for the Legends games, it feels more like a sidestep or a misstep, if we're being real here. I don't really have any thoughts on the story or setting. I never actually played X and Y. I mean, it seems cool enough. I just wish the whole game wasn't in the city. Honestly, that's probably my biggest issue with the game, is that so far in the 5 or 6 hours I've played of it, I've just been in the city. Looks like I'm just going to be in the city the whole game. I don't like that. I don't even care that it looks like dog shit with just JPEGs plastered all over these so-called buildings. I just don't want to be only in the city. For any game, where's the variety? Where's the diversity? Pokemon has so many diverse landscapes and regions. Why are we just stuck in this city? There's no routes, there's no trails, they have these little wild areas or whatever. These just suck. I don't like these. And ultimately, all of this just seems needlessly constricting. Like, they should have just had a more open area outside of the city. Even just one would have fixed this. But I guess it just wasn't possible for that. And then the battle system is pretty different from the other Pokemon games. It has cooldowns, and it honestly plays more like Xenoblade than anything else. And while I like the Xenoblade Chronicles battle system, I don't really know if this is a fit for Pokemon. I'm not going to sit here and be like, meh, it's different, so I don't like it. No, I like that they tried something different. It's about time they try some different things. I just don't know if this is it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's awful and that I haven't had any fun with it. No, I have had fun with the battle system. I just think that it feels a bit shallow, and it honestly feels a bit mindless, if we're being real here. I'm not really thinking too hard about my next move. It's whatever isn't on cooldown, I'll just use it next. But hey, I haven't beaten the game, I haven't gotten super far in it. Maybe it gets way more complicated down the line and I'm just being unfair to it. I'll just stop there and say the battle system is just okay. And the Pokemon selection in general has just been kind of okay. I recognize most of them, which is nice, but I just kind of feel like they could have done a lot more with this game. I feel like they could have done a lot more with everything, not just graphically. Obviously, they could always do more there. but just this game's overall scope, ambition, and what it was going for. It's just a very middling to decent RPG, and while that's better than plenty of other Pokemon games, I'm not gonna lie to you all, I'm a bit let down with this one. I'm gonna play some more of it, hopefully over the Christmas break I can get all the way through it and I'll have something different to say, but as of right now, yeah, the game is just alright, and I really didn't want just alright, man. Legends Arceus was so good. It was ridiculously good. It was so much fun, too. This, I'm just like, yeah, it's just whatever. And it's not blowing my socks off like the last one did. Low-key, I even like Scarlet and Violet more than this, which is probably not a good sign. But you know what's better than almost all of them? Again, the new Digimon. The new Digimon is actually really good, and I want to play more of that too, but that game's absolutely gargantuan. But as you all know, there's plenty of other games that I'd really want to put some more time into. At this point, I could just have a list. Games I want to put more time into, and instead of actually putting time into those games, it's just going to be about the list. That's a good idea. I'm writing that down. Write that down. Write that down. I'm rambling at this point. Pokemon was the last game. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, y'all. I'll see you all next month for 2026. Oh God, that sounds terrible to say. Bye-bye.